Hey guys, it's Warren with KLGadgetTV, and what we are taking a look here today is the SoundBlaster Katana V2 from Creative. Now, I am a big fan of the SoundBlaster Katana because I personally own the first version and I'm super impressed with the sound quality and the features that it provides. And the SoundBlaster Katana V2 brings that to the next level, and I'm here to tell you all about it after using it for a couple of days. Now, first of all, there are a couple of changes that I really like on the Katana V2 as compared to the first generation Katana. Now, in terms of the form factor, you can see that it is actually quite short as compared to the first generation Katana, which I have it on my hand right here. This is the first generation Katana, and if I put it right on the table right here, you'll realize that the old Katana is actually a little slicker, but because of the legs over here, it actually props up the speaker a little bit in an angle, and you actually find it that it is shorter than the Katana V2s. On the front here, you also get a new LED panel where you didn't get it on the first generation Katana, because this is basically using a dot matrix LED panel that shows you the modes that it is in, and it also shows you some information like what device is being connected over Bluetooth and some of the information, which I find is pretty useful, and you can turn it off if you actually want to. And another great improvement that I like it a lot is that it has a headphone jack right on the front here, and as you can see, the first generation Katana doesn't have one, and you gotta go all over to the back here to access the ports, which is kind of inconvenient. Now, last but not least, the greatest improvement that I probably like on the Katana V2 is actually the buttons right on the top, right? Compared to the first generation Katana, these buttons feel kind of mushy. They are not really so nice to press. This one, they actually have a really nice tactile feedback. Now, you do find a couple of new ports on the back here as compared to the first generation Katana, which includes HDMI ARC, which is great if you're thinking to connect to a TV with an HDMI port with ARC. You get a Super X5 out USB-A port. This is basically for the Super X5 dongle, which I actually have it right over here. So if you happen to have other Super X5 products that uses this dongle, you can actually connect to this USB port right at the back for wireless streaming. And you have a USB-C audio in port, which is for connecting to your PC, optical in, the subwoofer port, and finally the power port. Now, I think this is a really nice port selection that you get right over here, but one thing that it lacks as compared to the old Katana here is that the old Katana's USB-A port supports USB audio playback, which means you can actually just connect a flash drive and you can basically play music just off the flash drive instead of connecting to a PC or a smartphone. So this is what it lacks. Now, moving to the bottom of the soundbar here, you will realize that there is a really huge LED strip that's way larger than the first generation Katana, and it shines really brightly as you want to if you want to do it in your room. Now, you can still mount it onto a wall if you're looking for that. So Creative does provide a pair of wall mount brackets inside the box that you will need to screw it right at the bottom here. You need to take out the screws over here and just mount it, and you can pretty much just put it on the wall like you do like a typical soundbar. Now, let's talk about the speakers and sound quality of the Katana V2. Now, similar to the first generation Katana, you're getting two top firing mid-bass drivers, and right over here you get two high excursion tweeters, and each of these speakers has its individual chambers to produce really ultra precise sound. Now, in terms of power, this thing goes up to 252 watts of peak power. That's actually a huge increase from the first generation Katana's 150 watts. Now, of course, the subwoofer that is right under there is definitely a little taller and wider than the original Katana. That explains the power. And with all the speakers on board, you're getting true 5.1 channel sound, which is actually very, very impressive. Now, another thing that sets the Katana V2 different from the first generation Katana is that it supports Creative Super X5 technology. Now, I've actually reviewed that technology. It's a pretty cool sound feature, but unfortunately, it doesn't just work on the speakers alone. For that one, you gotta go get Creative Super X5 Carrier, which is another higher end speaker that costs way more expensive than this one. But Super X5 basically works on the headphone port right over here. So if you happen to have tried out Creative Super X5 technology already, you can have all your hearing presets set onto this device here, and it will output through your headphones right at the front headphone jack over here.
We both run. We both run.
Like I mentioned earlier, the top buttons on the Katana V2 is way nicer to press compared to the first generation Katana, and that's even more so with the remote control of the Katana V2. Now, as you can see, you get more buttons this time as compared to the first generation Katana's remote control. So even though this is really slim and pocketable, but I dislike the fact that it uses the coin battery, which is something that we don't usually keep, and if you happen to run out of battery, you gotta just run out to the store and get it. I'm not sure about you, but that's just me. But as compared to the second generation remote, it is powered by two AAA batteries, which is something that I usually store at my home because most of my remotes are using this type of battery. Now, in terms of the button layouts, you are definitely getting a better layout right over here as compared to the first generation Katana's remote. So you are getting a 4-directional key over here, which lets you control the volume, the music playback, and you get some other buttons like changing the sound mode, the lighting, turning on and off the display, and the subwoofer volume. And you get 6 customizable buttons right over here that you can configure in the Creative app. So the SoundBlaster Katana V2 no longer uses the SoundBlaster Connect app, but the all-new Creative app, which is available as a free download on iOS and Android. And I'm going to show you guys on how the app works. Now, this is the Creative app, which actually works very well with the Katana V2, and I like the pairing process is very straightforward this time. And even if you don't pair it over your phone's Bluetooth settings, you simply enter the app and it will search for the device, and all you need to do is to just tap on it and you get paired really instantly. So you can actually do a lot of sound settings over here and you save into various presets. Now, I'm actually on the onboard preset over here, so if I can basically set all the settings like the crystallizer volume, the surround sound volume, and smart volume, which is a feature that I really like it a lot because this is something that I always use if I'm gaming or watching a movie at night and I don't want to disturb other people. It kind of reduces the rumbling sound of the woofer but still gives you enough space and surround sound to give you a really immersive audio experience. Alright, so over here, once you are done, you can simply just tap on save and you just simply name your mode and you can just switch over to it if you actually want to. Now, in terms of lighting settings, I'm just going to head on over to lighting. Now, this is what you can do right over here. So you don't really need a computer to configure all that, as you can do it all over on your smartphone. You can change the speed of the light bar if you want to, which is really super convenient. You can change the different motion, morph, mood. There's a lot of things that you can do if you're an RGB fan. And basically, I'm not an RGB fan, but I do like that it gives me the option to configure the lights if I want to. Okay. All right. So right over here, you also get the mixer. Option right over here, where you can configure the playback volume and the subwoofer volume as well, which you don't actually need your remote if you want to. And this is where things get interesting. Now, you will be able to customize the custom buttons that's right at the bottom row of your remote control here over at your smartphone app. Now let's try to go into C1. All right, so currently I have no action assigned to the C1 button, so we can configure either mic monitoring, scout mode, but you can set other things, like for example, if you want to simply press one button to go into, let's say, Bluetooth mode and set the output. So basically you can choose between two outputs by either going to headphones or the speaker. So you can set this all over here, and even the volume, look at that, it's actually so nice. Like you can set a preset volume that you're always comfortable with, so you don't really need to adjust the volume all the time. And of course, you have the sound mode, whether what kind of EQ effects that you actually want to do on the Katana V2. You can actually have this all set, and once you press that button, all these settings will go to the speaker instantly, removing the need for you to manually tune to the sound quality and the volume that you actually want to. At this time of shooting, Creative is still selling the SoundBlaster X Katana at its website for $249 US, and the Katana V2 will retail at a more expensive price at $329 US. Now, that's actually quite a huge price jump from the original Katana, but if you were to ask me which one should you go for? I would have to say that it really depends on your preference. Now, of course, the V2 has definitely a lot of improved features such as HDMI ARC, more powerful audio at 252 watts peak, and you also get Super X5. So there's a whole lot of features that's being added into this soundbar at a smaller size, but there is definitely a price tag to pay. Now, of course, what you are getting on the V2 here is, of course, Dolby Audio. Now, that actually significantly improves the movie watching experience because you will find that vocals are actually more precise, like the directional audio stuff. It's actually more precise as you watch movies as compared to the first generation Katana, and you also get slightly better surround sound on the V2 here. Alright, so that's pretty much about my thoughts about these two soundbars here. They are actually pretty good, and especially the V2. Of course, this entire video is focused on this one. I think it's a really good investment if you want a good soundbar for your home as compared to the mainstream brands out there, because this really delivers a lot of value compared to those other soundbars out there. So that's pretty much about the video for today. Stay tuned for more videos coming right up at KLGadgetTV. Subscribe to us and be sure to follow us on social media, and I will see you guys in our next video.